They roll coverage.
Welcome to Panther Talk. Anae Schroff, Eugene Robinson, Jim Zoki, and we are joined, as always, on this Monday by Panthers head coach Dave Canales. Coach, I know not the start that you or the team or the fans wanted to begin the season, but when you digest everything that happened in Jacksonville and you looked at the film, what were a couple of key things the film review revealed?
Yeah, I mean, it's Tell the Truth Monday, so we had to go right to the turnovers. We cannot play that brand of football and expect to win in this league. You know, the early turnover, early interception by Bryce, the fumble before the half in scoring range, that just puts us at a real disadvantage, and that's something that philosophically that we have to be better at. You know, I think just in terms of, you know, offense, let's stay with the offense first, you know, just, you know, looking at some bright spots and some plays being made, some run game that's there. Is overshadowed by the fact that we had a couple of turnovers, you know, and we got to handle the blitz. We got to handle pressure better. We had a couple of great opportunities down the field, but it all starts with protection, making sure we're on the same page so we can take advantage of those opportunities because they put themselves in vulnerable spots from a coverage standpoint. And that's where we got to be explosive, and we got to cash in on those. On the flip side, on the defensive side, you know, it's about tackling. You know, it was missed opportunities at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage. And then a couple down the field, and that was kind of the story of the day. Just making sure that we're disciplined about our run fits. A bunch of guys, you know, playing a lot of games together for the first time. Got to be able to communicate. Got to trust each other, be in our graps, and ultimately just play with our feet in the ground square and get the guy down.
You know what? I 100% agree with you, Dave. And to be honest, it was a very abysmal outing. It was really, really tough to watch as a Carolina Panthers fan. One, because where I live at, it's just hard to find the game. But when I finally got locked in, dude, we were not, first of all, playing the guys that I really genuinely thought needed to be played. I felt like we should have been playing guys like Princely. We should have been playing guys like Nick Scorton, Lathan Ransom, and all that other stuff. When he talks about tackling, he's talking about Nick Scott. Him and Trevin Wallace were some of the worst tape that people have been talking about since this game has gotten over. And when he talked about those turnovers, he made sure to mention Bryce. The crazy stat that I had, you know, we had to go look up and everything like that was teams having 9% chance to win when the turnover differential is -3. Now, to be honest, Bryce almost made it -4 with that final pick six that was thankfully called back. This team didn't look good. This team didn't look motivated. And to be honest, the defense got exposed because the offense couldn't stay on the field. If we had a semi-competent offense until, you know, before the garbage time touchdown, we might have actually put our defense in a situations where we could actually do something. But instead, we come out of this with so many more questions than we had when we walked in, like, why did we not play the young players? So I still like the optimism of Dave, but there's obviously a lot of concerns just all around the board now. And a lot of questions to be asked just in general.
Coach, I want to go to something you're talking about the defensive side of the ball. There's always hidden yardage, and people don't realize that when you miss a tackle, that really creates a lot of as a bubble effect because now a guy's getting more yardage than he should be getting. So where was all that hidden yardage? And I also saw a play when DJ Wanham coming inside, looked like he's going to do a spill technique to put the running back on the outside so that the linebacker could pick up, but seemed like somebody didn't get there. So
yeah.
What was that hidden yardage, sir?
Yeah, I think you hit it right there. You know, you got a 70-yarder, a couple of nice, you know, third down rush lane. We got to be disciplined about just a third down rush lane scramble by the quarterback, and then there was 2 explosive runs in the 4-minute drill, and that's what it takes to have a big day rushing right there, and that's how the Jags were able to get that done, and that's where we got to be better at, you know, in those run fits. But again, that's about trust. That's about playing our right technique and ultimately getting the guy down.
Yeah, man, and to be honest, Trevin Wallace was a big portion of that. The linebacker room, now that Josie Jewell is not here, is truly being exposed. I mean, Christian Roseboom has his moments, but he should not be the sole person on this defense. Trevin Wallace at this point should be able to carry his own weight, and to be honest, he's not able to do that. He's going to be a horribly ranked linebacker basically every week because he still has the same thing that I talked about way back when he got drafted. He doesn't diagnose the game the way a linebacker should. To be honest, it was in his college profile. It's been the critique of him at the NFL level. He just doesn't get it. He hits the wrong gaps. He doesn't make the right decision consistently, and that is a problem. And if that's going to continue to be an issue, I'm not going to lie, there was a guy that got cut from our original 90, Tuasivi Nomura, the kid from Fresno State. Go call him and let him go out there and get some reps, because at this point, I think it'd be better than whatever the hell Trevin Wallace has given us.
Teams go through this, but you've incorporated a lot of new players. I know you talked about communication a little bit there, but a lot of these guys have had success and experience with other teams. But to be on the field for the first time in a live regular season game, does that naturally take part of a game at least, or whatever? It seemed like in the second half things maybe tightened up a little bit as far as maybe being more cohesive. Yeah,
there's some really good football throughout this game on both sides and in special teams as well. I forgot to mention that. We got a bunch of young guys playing on special teams who I think did a phenomenal job just chasing the ball, covering kicks, and pretty good in the blocking game in terms of the returns. But yeah, this is the challenge for this group, and the league is not going to wait for us. And that's the urgency that we have in our building is like, look, yes, we have people playing together in real games for a full 4 quarters right now for the first time. Let's go. We got another one coming. And that's the mentality. That's the energy that's happening right now with our team. And, we had a great meeting today where we were able to just go right to the breakdowns, the breakdowns of the play, whether it was offense, defense, or special teams, tell the truth about it and tell the truth about the things that we did well so the guys can see, which is the sense I get from this group is they're disappointed because they know what we have. They know the group that we've put together here, and they expect to play better. So we'll build off of that.
So I genuinely believe that this guy right here, Dave Canales, might be already in a situation where he's hearing something from behind the scenes. Everybody knows that if you've been a longtime fan here, I was on Frank Reich's side till the end. I felt like the way that Tepper was treating him, the way that, again, when I was breaking down his press conferences like I do Dave's now, you saw the change. It not only him, but in his face, in his actions, in his words, and all that other stuff. And this doesn't seem like the same guy that we hired. This isn't the same guy. If you go back and look at when we originally hired him, happy-go-lucky, looks young and everything like that, I think he's literally sitting there with that face because he knows the writing is on the wall. David Tepper might be literally cutting him or, doing something drastic, especially if this slide happens the way that I said, where I said, man, we could be going into this Dallas game in week 6 down 5 games already. If we trot out there like we did in this Jacksonville game, that's exactly where we're going to be. And that is not good for Dave Canales. That's not good for Dan Morgan. That's not good for Bryce Young. So we need to see the turnaround this week. We're going to Arizona. We normally beat Arizona in a lot of these games. I need to get this win. Give Dave this early win to kind of push him off the hot seat, because if it's not, and we put out something, again, similar to Jacksonville, we're having a different conversation and hoping that we can rally at home and then beat the Falcons, who, no offense, look like a really, really awesome offense. That Falcons-Bucs game was electric. So I'm worried, to be honest. I'm genuinely worried, and I think Dave is worried too. I think what he is hearing behind the scenes and just that response, like, I'll probably clip this and put it up because that is something people need to see.
Dave, one of the tipping points in the game seemed to be that sequence before the half and then after the half, 17-3. If Leggett gets that second foot in, maybe that changes the drive. 2 plays later, there's the fumble. They kick a field goal, and now all of a sudden, instead of maybe a 1-score game and you guys getting the ball with a chance to tie, 3-score game, which maybe impacts how you call the plays and how balanced you can be offensively?
Absolutely. This game is about execution, and the margins are so thin, in this league that we have to be able to make the plays that are there for us to make.
Coach.
And again, those margins he talked about. God, I wish I had the clip. If I could find it in time for this video edit that'll go up today, then I'll put it in here. If not, there's a famous quote of him talking about just winning the margin, which was the interceptions, was the way to win games. If you're just +1 in the interceptions, you have a much more significant chance of winning the game. We lost because of Bryce Young, and I feel like that's what he continually is going back to. He's like, this is on Bryce, man. 3 turnovers is how you lose games, period. Again, 9%. That's way too low, man.
I asked you last week about the team and what was the character of the team. You mentioned it was about the physicality. Yeah. Did you see any of that stuff that you talked about, the physicality? Did you see that displayed in that game at all?
Absolutely. And that's the part where, I after the game, I hop on the bus and start watching it immediately and just kind of looking at what did this game feel like. And it felt like a team that's physical, a team that's fast, a team that gives great effort. And it also feels like a team that we got to be consistent about our basic fundamentals of the game. But it showed up, and I was proud of that part of it. I was proud of the finish. The guys kept playing hard all the way through it. But, in order for us to go where we want to go and become the team that we want to become, this is about the most practical parts of the game.
Is it just me? If you literally go way back with me, you'll remember that his first press conference that I broke down was the Bucs one. He was the OC, and I said that he seemed like, I can't even remember, but this is what my recollection of it was. Like, he seemed jittery. He seemed like really like hyped up, a lot of coffee, stuff like that. And it seems like his entire body's shaking while he's talking. Like, he looks super anxious. Yeah, there's got to be something going on, because this like eye darting around, not cool, calm, collected Canales. I know that he could be overly optimistic, which people can misconstrue with being, a bit antsy. That's not it. He's normally really collected. This is a different Canales. So we're seeing some sort of shift happen with Dave.
As a follow-up to that thought, on the worst play of the game, Christian Roseboom, a linebacker, goes down the field, tracks Travis Etienne 71 yards, makes a tackle that if he doesn't make is maybe probably very likely a touchdown there. But just talk about the effort of a guy like that just, as a football player, not giving up on a play in a situation where it was a big negative play to begin with anyways.
Yeah, that's the pride thing. That's boom every day, and he gives everything he has, and he knows that if we get the guy down one more time, this gives us a chance potentially to have a turnover. We can stop him right there in those situations, make it challenging on the offense, just give us one more chance out there. Trevin did a good job of getting in front of it, turning it back so that, Christian could have a chance to run him down. But I just love what he exemplified in the type of effort that we're looking for from our players.
That's something we also saw with Trevin Wallace last year. I think that's probably why he's linebacker too. He has a lot of freakish abilities to really chase people down. The fact that Roseboom chased down Etienne was awesome, and I appreciate the effort. But I feel like I need more from my linebackers than just effort. I need you guys to make the right calls, and I need you guys to make the tackles the first time, not the second time. So,
Dave, when it comes to the lineup, do you anticipate any changes between week 1 and week 2?
We're trying to get Icky back one day at a time. He was getting closer and closer to the game on Sunday, and had a great workout today. So we're going to just keep pushing him a little bit more each day and try to get him back out there. Other than that, I'd like to see the young guys get out there and, just like we know that as you learn, you take your lumps, and you'll make some plays and then you'll give up some plays, and all of it is valuable. All of it is valuable for learning the lessons that it takes to play this game well. So I think that's going to be the challenge for our group.
Again, is it just me? If it's me, then put it in the comments. But if it's not me, also put it in the comments. Are you seeing his shoulders kind of like shake like this? Because I am. Maybe it's just my eyes that's being a little jittery at the moment. But he's also really messing with his hands, kind of flexing and going like this. His you could see it in his forearms where they're constantly like jittering. So there's something going on here. He's telling us something non-verbally. And it's got to be that Tepper's like got his hand around his throat almost, basically. Man, you need to win a game. You need to show me that this offense can do it. I invested all this money. I want to see a return. That's just my tinfoil hat theory. But there's something here. Again, put it in the comments if you think you know what it is.
Coach, you would love to see your leaders come and really emerge at this point in time to go ahead and really galvanize that locker room.
Absolutely.
There's a kind of a general axiom in football that the biggest improvements are made between week 1 and week 2 of a season. Is that true? Do you see that in football through your past experiences, and obviously as your expectation this week as far as seeing that growth this week?
Yeah, my expectation is growth weekly. To your point, I think that when you make improvements, I think the improvements become smaller and smaller the further you get. The closer you get to playing really good football, they start off, especially with young players, the growth curve is so huge, and then all of a sudden you find good football, and then you got to like really fight and scratch to find that little incremental improvement and compete to find whatever that edge is, But I think that, early on, especially for us, coming off of a game like this, we have some things that we can definitely clean up in week 2.
And to be honest, we have to clean it up because, again, the schedule doesn't get easier as the weeks go on. I argued that early slide could be the problem and the reason why we see a guy like Bryce Young benched, a guy like Dave Canales fired maybe. Like some massive shift could happen in Carolina if we don't go into Arizona and win, or God forbid, beat the Falcons at home. Like if we go into Miami and lose that game, a team that looks just shredded at this point in week 5, we're having a whole separate discussion about this team. So we really need this week 1 to week 2 to be a positive shift, hopefully again in the win column. But regardless, I just need to see a more competent offense put out on the field in general. Hey, if the defense is truly the issue and we lose by 30, hey, man, that sucks. But I also need to see us be competitive when we're out there on offense because the defense isn't out there anymore. I can't blame them anymore. It's on Dave Canales. It's on Bryce Young. It's on the wide receivers, the tight ends, the offensive line, everybody involved. But I'm not going to give it to just the defense. They can't play both sides of the ball.
Coach, I've been asked this question. What do the coaches do on a rain delay that happens? What do they do as opposed to what does the team do?
Yeah, so we come in and first we go right to our players and we have the opportunity to look at the first couple of series to say this is how they're trying to play us here. We talk through some different things so that we can mentally, while it's fresh in your mind, kind of go through that part of it, and then after that, the coaches, we kind of get together, and have a quick 5-minute meeting. And, it was a pretty long delay. And then the players, we kind of asked them to take your shoulder pads off, breathe a little bit, change your socks if you want to, just to kind of get a fresh feeling like we're going to restart this thing. And then we just go through our whole body prep, just like we were going to start the game and start to get their readiness happen, take them out on the field, do a little bit more dynamic movement, and then rock and roll.
Coach, Bryce, being the quarterback, good or bad, always will be the lightning rod. That's the nature of the position. How do you assess his performance from week 1?
I think Bryce would be, if he's sitting here, he'll tell you he's got to play better. He's got to take care of the ball first and foremost. I thought that he did a great job.
Again, watch his hands, watch his body language. He's kind of all over the place. This isn't the normal Canales we're used to seeing. He normally does the lip thing, which last year I made into this giant season-long joke that I really got a kick out of because he'll literally sit up there and just go and just do that the whole time. Now it's this jittery hand thing. Again, nonverbal cues. Something's happening behind the scenes that we're not hearing.
Of getting us to the right play, sorting us out with the protections, getting us to the right calls. He had us up there. We were ready to go. He gave us some good opportunities. He's got a few opportunities I'm sure he would like to have back, down the field on a couple of opportunities. But I just loved the way he kept leading. I loved the way he kept challenging the guys. And I fully expect him to continue doing that.
I saw you at your press conference. You talked about just the communication, those 5-6 extra seconds at the line of scrimmage. Yeah. What does that do for a quarterback?
Yeah, it's just they have so much good information in their mind that they can take all that in if we can be at the line of scrimmage where the snap is imminent. Once the snap is imminent, the defense at some point has to kind of show you what they're doing, and when you can do that, they can't wait you out all the way until you're under 5 seconds and then time up the snap and all those things. And so it's an advantage, and that's something that we'll have to continue to improve on.
Interesting, because previously he said that the play getting in is not the issue. It's the execution of the center, Austin Corbett, and Bryce Young. So if that's the case, he's now telling us that, hey, man, it's actually a little bit of an advantage to get it in, but, we still need to give it a few more second buffer. So it's interesting that, again, he's not laying it on the feet of Bryce in this moment. Of course, the turnovers he has to, because there's nobody else that could mess that up. That was solely on him. But he's still trying to give him every out that he can. So maybe there is something to the, Bryce has confidence issues. I don't know. But this is definitely weird for sure.
Of anticipation with the fans about seeing T-Mac out there for his first game, and obviously you'd like to see that touchdown grab, which would have been a good one to get and a tough one to get. Overall, though, it looked like he was smooth and comfortable out there. What were your general impressions about him?
Yeah, confident, friendly to the quarterback, attacked the ball. He was on time. He was where he was supposed to be at the depth he was supposed to be there, and just really showed us that he's going to be a reliable target for us.
Besides the 4th and 1 where he ran the wrong route,
I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the interception that was in the secondary. Beautiful, beautiful play. How did JC play?
JC had a fantastic game. I thought that he was, in great position in the pass game, great position in the run game. Yes, there's stuff that I'm sure he would tell you. There's some thises and that's and technique-wise that he could have done better. The interception was a beautiful heads-up play. He recognized the concept, punched out, and then made a real high point, like incredible interception on it right in front of where I was sitting, and I'm standing on the sideline, and that's what we expect out of JC. We don't expect anything less, but I think what gets downplayed is how physical he played in the run game, showing up on the edge, and throwing his body in there to get guys down.
It's interesting he said sitting. I'm curious where he actually was. I'm assuming he was standing. The dude stands like 99% of the time that he's ever pictured or anything like that, but it's interesting that he says that. Maybe he's just thinking from a fan's perspective.
Coach, last thing, Derek Brown's first game in about a year where he's played a lot of snaps. How did he hold up on the back end after the game?
Awesome. I think it sums it up in this. It's the fourth quarter. They're in one of the last series of the game. They have a 2-score lead. They throw a middle screen on 3rd and long. Derek Brown, at the end of the game, everything he's got comes out the stack, knocks down Travis Hunter. They gain about 3 yards. We hold them to a field goal, and it gives us a chance. And that's the reason I love Derek Brown. He embodies what we're looking for as a group. We just keep playing football. We just keep finishing. Try to do right longer than the opponent. That's our goal, And so I just love to be able to talk about that.
All right. Dave Canales, head coach of the Panthers. 1 week, there's still 16 more games. See you after Arizona.
Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah, dude. Again, appreciate everybody involved with that. Appreciate Dave for doing these. Of course, I'm here picking them apart, but at the same time, I still want Carolina to win. And we can do that. We just need to see that offensive unit take a step forward. Of course, again, I want to reiterate that I want the young guys to play. Give me Lathan Ransom as a starter. Give me Princely and Nick Scorton as starters. Get Cam Jackson more involved if we can. I know that he didn't play in the first game at all. I'm pretty sure he was designated before that he was out. So I want to get those guys a bit more involved to keep our other guys a bit fresher. But obviously, we need to see some sort of offensive output. We had 3 points until like 5 minutes left in the game, which, again, garbage time. The game was over. I'm not giving that to the offense. We scored 3 points in my mind, and I need to see that do considerably more. I need to see 15, 20, 25 points to be able to win this game in Arizona. I mean, Arizona is literally littered in injuries as well. So if we can't win in Arizona, we have a whole separate problem on our hands that could be a decent slide. And again, we're going to have to start asking questions about guys like Dave Canales, about guys like Bryce Young, and of course, Dan Morgan. But I want to know your thoughts. Where do you think we're truly going to be at in a week? Do you really think that this Arizona game is going to be a win? Do you think it's going to be a struggle? Do you think it's going to be a loss? I think it's going to be for sure a struggle, but I can see a path forward. I can see a way that we win this game. If not, then I'm hoping that we see a path to winning in it at home against Atlanta. But right now I'm solely focused on the Arizona Cardinals. So make sure you check out my Jonathan Gannon breakdown video as well. I want to get into the mind of the coach that we're going into next week, just like I did with Liam Cohen. And to be honest, we gleaned a lot from that. We knew that the game was most likely going to be focused on the run, and if we couldn't stop it, there's no need to get a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. involved. So It is definitely going to be an interesting one. Can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Otherwise, have a great day. Peace. I really appreciate you making it this far. It helps out the channel, and I cannot thank you enough. Hopefully one of these other videos are ones that you like as well, but if not, I can't wait to catch you in the next one. My name is Nick, and this has been Roll Coverage.